What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode 152 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends, or click on the support link in this episode's description. Your donation of any amount could change a life. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. When we come back, we'll get into this episode entitled Taking Your Thoughts Captive. Welcome back to episode 152 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast entitled Taking Your Thoughts Captive. Here's a quote that I'd like to open up with. It's by Peter McWilliams, and he said, "For many, negative thinking is a habit which over time becomes an addiction." So for me, the importance of taking our thoughts captive is you may be addicted to just keeping your negative thinking going on and having that as your comfort zone. So this episode will focus on how to break free from negative thinking by taking your thoughts captive. I've utilized an outline from an article that Richard L. Ganz wrote in crosswalk.com on the 4th of March, 2021, entitled 6 Ways to Take Your Thoughts Captive. So what is taking your thoughts captive? What does it mean? Well, I guess in basic terms, it means gaining control over what you think about yourself and your life. And here are Richard Gantz's 6 ways to take thoughts captive. Number 1, accept responsibility for your thoughts. Often our coaches or counselors work with us to take responsibility for our actions and to make amends because the focus is on behavior modification. As I work with people in the From Ashes to Destiny curriculum, we look inside at the core values that were formed by our heart wounds, how that wound has affected beliefs, how our beliefs create our thoughts, and how our thoughts shape our feelings, which steer your behaviors. So taking your thoughts captive is important if you want to control your behavior. So it's important to learn how to take responsibility for allowing your thoughts to get off course, allowing your thoughts to head into that negative zone. Mahatma Gandhi once said, and I quote, "A man is but the byproduct of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes." So remember, accept a thought. Accept responsibility for the thought, but don't become it. Number 2, your mind, not just your behavior, must change. As we take responsibility for our thoughts, we begin to shift our way of thinking and our priorities for our beliefs. A good example of this would be writing down what we think would be our goals in character development. And Plato once said, "Reality is created by the mind. We can change our reality by changing our mind." So you understand, when we take our thoughts captive, we get down to our belief system. And when we change our belief system, we can focus on our goals in character development, which will filter through our thoughts and our feelings and change our mind and behavior. Number 3 from Ganz said, think through your problems rather than just react to them. If we've been able to take responsibility for our thoughts and shifted the focus of our mind, we quickly realize the importance of taking time to think through our circumstances and decisions and to seek input from our support group, our coach, our sponsor, whoever. Do you remember all of the negative consequences that resulted from your knee-jerk reactions to problems in the past? So it's time to think through your problems and make that a new habit of yours. Number 4, take your disabling thoughts captive through confession. As you work through this process of changing your ways of thinking, a key area of self-evaluation is to honestly write down every one of the thoughts that has crippled you, paralyzed you, derailed you, and disabled you. The best way to identify these is to share what you wrote down with a coach, mentor, or friend, and ask them to help you take them captive before they undermine your progress in recovery. I know it will take courage on your part. It's not an easy thing to do to open up, as Richard Ganz said, to confess, to share the truth and the honesty with a friend. But knowing that these thoughts disable you, that should be power inspiring to get them out in the open with just one person you can trust. In 1983, Maya Angelou delivered her poem On the Pulse of Morning at the inauguration of President Clinton. Here's a part of that poem. History, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again. Lift up your eyes upon this day breaking for you. Give birth again to the dream. Do you see that? Often we repeat this wrenching pain of history because we never even try to unlive it. We never try to move forward. And when we get the courage to share with someone, we set in process the ability to live again without that thought haunting us. Number 5, choose to focus on your thoughts on the right things. From Philippians chapter 4, verses 7 and 8, it gives us a great outline of what to include as a list for this step. So if you're trying to figure out what are the right things to focus on, it says meditate on whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is of good report, anything of virtue, anything that is praiseworthy. That's a great list. And just think of the antonyms of those words. How many times have you spent hours and days in a whole lifestyle focusing on whatever's false, whatever's a lie, whatever just gets you a benefit and you don't care who you manipulate? How it ends up in bad reports about you and no one sees you as virtuous, and on and on. But I believe when we think and meditate on this list of things, of good things, as our everyday routine, then good things begin to flow from us, and new things spring to life in us. A quote from the TV show Blue Bloods said, "I recognized early that I didn't have to go without my masterpiece. I had my life's work in my hands. I vowed to make it a Rembrandt." Can you do that as you begin good thoughts? What is the work of art, the masterpiece, the thing that you can make your life by keeping your focus on these 7 things listed in the passage from Philippians? I believe we all have a Rembrandt masterpiece inside of us if we can keep our things and our thoughts focused. And finally, number 6, it is not easy to retrain your thoughts or to respond in new ways, but it is possible. You with me? These steps are not easy. Like recovery, they will take focus, work, and a commitment to taking your thoughts captive and make that a new core value in your life. So are you ready to accept the responsibility for your thoughts? To remember that your mind, not just your behavior, must change? To think through your problems rather than just react to them? To take your disabling thoughts captive through sharing honestly with at least one supportive person? And to choose to focus your thoughts on the right things? And finally, to put in the committed, focused, hard work to retrain your thoughts to respond in new ways. If your answer is yes, lift up your chin, look straight ahead, and take that first step. Charlie Chaplin once said, and I quote, You'll never find a rainbow if you're looking down. It's time to look up, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you would like to join an online group or get one-on-one counseling to help you take your thoughts captive, please message me on the link in this podcast or by email at davidfromatoD@gmail.com or go to my website, www.fromatod.org, and click on the contact page. You can keep in touch with what we're doing in From A to D by following me on Instagram at davidfromatoD. For our Spotify listeners, you can leave your comments by clicking on the link they provide on that platform. Tune in Monday for our next episode, and as always, stay safe and stay strong.